Hello again, guys. Welcome back to the weekly analysis for the NASDAQ 100. Before we begin, let's just pray. God, just give you thanks again for another opportunity to trade. We thank you for the success that you have blessed us with. I ask that you'll beat anyone watching this video. May we be successful and may we have a great week together. We pray. Amen. All right, guys. So looking at the charts for this upcoming week, pretty exciting stuff. The NASDAQ 100, like I said, it's my favorite instrument to trade because it's actually very predictable. It's easy to understand once you spend the time putting together the correct strategy and practicing it. As you guys know, I have gone on already and done my weekly and my daily boundaries. If you're not familiar with how I draw my lines, please see one of the videos that I have posted, which shows you how to set up the charts, how I set up my charts based on my strategy for the week ahead. All right. So as you know, I like to do my top-down analysis, and I always start with my largest time frame. And of course, on the largest time frame, when I look at it, which is the monthly, it has been making higher lows, higher highs consistently. Nothing has changed. The market is doing nothing different. Higher lows, higher highs. Those of you who are expecting this free fall sell-off at some point in time, sorry to disappoint you. That does not happen. It's not in the characteristic of NAS. You will have months where the market will sell sustained. However, you will notice in the past that has only managed to create a higher low on the monthly time frame. So any sells that you see on the NASDAQ 100 are only temporary, and they will only produce a higher low on your largest time frame and continue to make that higher high. Now, if the market is supposed to become bullish, this level right here would have to be broken. Okay, bearish. I'm sorry. If the market has to become bearish, this level would have to be broken and a new low would have to be formed. The last time a new low was formed on the monthly time frame was all the way back in February of 2016. Okay, and that was short-lived because it broke the low, made a new low, and eventually shot right back up and made a new high. And it has been going up ever since. So there's no time in the history of the NASDAQ 100 that the market on the monthly time frame has ever made lower highs, lower lows. And that is what you need for a sustained downtrend. You need to be seeing lower highs, lower lows on your largest time frame. The NASDAQ 100 has never done that in history. And as such, it will always continue to make higher lows, higher highs. Every single high on the NASDAQ 100 has been broken, okay? Not so with the lows. All the lows have formed higher. All the highs have been broken. That is why my stance on the NASDAQ 100 is eternally bullish. Moment of truth, and also for clarification, me being eternally bullish does not mean that there are not sells or times when the market sells, okay? When the market sells, you have two options. If you're skilled enough in your strategy and comfortable enough in your strategy, you can sell your retracements once you take the price from the highest point and sell to the next higher low. Or you can do what I do most of the times, which is sit on my hands and just wait for the retracement to be over. Once the retracement is over and that higher low is created, then it's time for me to buy again. All right. So let's look at this week. So on Friday, we saw, excuse me, that a new low was formed on the, at 9 o'clock. Okay, between 9 and I think 2 o'clock. So if we're looking at the 7-hour time frame, 7 and 11 o'clock, a new high was formed. 7 o'clock on the 7-hour time frame, which was your largest higher low, on your 2-hour time frame that was formed at 9 a.m. And then going down to 11 a.m., you saw that it was retested. And it has been trying to go up since. It has been consolidating ever since. My belief for the upcoming week is that the market has actually started buying already since Friday. Okay. Market has started buying since Friday, and I expect that to continue into this new week. Okay. I don't expect any more bearish momentum for the beginning part of the week, unless the 7-hour time frame, which was the largest higher low, comes and makes a lower high somewhere in this region. Then guess what? It's all uphill from here. And I honestly believe that once we come here, if we come and we break this level right here, it's going to continue up. Another thing that gave me some confidence that the move has actually turned bullish again and the retracement is over is, excuse me, when I look at my smallest time frames. Now, please remember, I do not analyze based on my small time frames. I don't take moves based on my small time frames. How the moves are set up, the largest time frame, which in this case is the 7-hour, has signaled to me that this is the largest higher low. Okay, what I use my small time frames to do is to actually take the setups that will guarantee me the lowest and the smallest amount of drawdown towards the trend. Okay, so here's what gave me some confidence on Friday, that the retracement is over and the market has started its bullish run again. When I go to my 1 minute, for example, and this is one of the reasons why I keep stressing to everyone, you do not want to use just one set of tools to actually do your analysis. Some people rely on indicators. My feeling on indicators, as I've always said to you, is that indicators are not predictors. They just basically confirm what your analysis has shown. Okay, so here we go. Looking at my 1 minute time frame. Now, I use trend lines. So I drew a trend line here. This was the last set of lows that was made on Friday. Okay, last set of lows. So if you notice, I have a trend line here. This is my lower level trend line. Price came, it broke below my trend line and actually came and formed this support here on Friday evening. But notice, as soon as it broke through this, the price has been basically trading above that trend line for the most part. That's my lower trend line. Now, the important trend line that I have here is my high side trend line, which is based on my highs. So here we go. And this is on the 1 minute, guys. And I mean, the only reason why I do this is that I'm able to spot from a micro level if I want to get those pinpoint entries so that I can actually start towards the trend. I use my 1 minute or even smaller sometimes, right? So here's my upper level trend line based on my highs. So here we go, high and high. Okay, notice what happens. Price has been in this triangle. So if you notice, we have a descending triangle. Okay, price kept getting smaller. It squeezed below here, but it came above here. It broke above this trend line. Okay, notice it has been consolidating against this trend line. But for the most part, on Friday, this is where the price ended. At 4:59 p.m., price ended above this upper trend line and also above the lower trend lines. Right at this point right here is where the two trend lines crossed. Okay? Right here, the two trend lines crossed, which means they have now switched roles. So you now have support becoming resistance and resistance now becoming support. Okay, so they cross roles right here. Now, I did not look at this before, but hey, just for the heck of it, I like doing analysis and I like playing around with the tools and the indicators because again, this confirms my analysis. If that is true, and this is where the prices intersect, then if I look at some other tool, let's say, for example, if I use my alligator tool, which is basically a series of moving averages. If I use my alligator tool, I should see some amount of indication right at this point here that the price has now started to shift towards a bullish momentum. So let me just put that tool on here. So if I go to indicators and if I go to alligator, okay, let's look at what happens right here. So let me zoom this out so we can see it a little bit bigger. And here we go. So remember, here's where my lines intersected, right? So if I put a line right here, around about here is where I'm expecting to see some rows crossed over, right? So here we go. Right after this point, this is where we see, if you notice, the jaws of the alligator have started to close, and now it has switched towards a bullish momentum. So this is perfectly in line with the analysis that I'm seeing. Okay, so this gives me more confidence in the fact that the move is actually going up. All right. Now, let me just remove this for a second. Let me also remove this alligator tool. I don't like leaving indicators on my thing at all. All right. Now, jumping back to my bigger time frames. Now, those lines that I draw on my 1 hour actually tells a very similar story. So if you look at your 2 hour, for example, you'll notice, here we go. This was where the low was broken on Friday. This candle right here, 9 o'clock, broke and formed a new low. Okay. Don't take my word for it. Let's back test and do it. Okay. So if the price was here, notice that the price was at a higher low right here. Okay. So look at what happened. Price came down and it made a low. As soon as it broke this line right here, let me do it again so you can see it, for those of you who missed it. So we select the bar. Price is at a higher low right here. Price is at a lower high right here. In order for a new low to be formed, price has to break the previous low. Okay, so we're going to take a line. Let's do a little trend line right here. And we're just going to draw a line right here just for a reference. As soon as price breaks this red line right here, let me make it thicker so you can actually see it. As soon as price breaks that red line right here, you're going to see the word low forming. Okay, let's do it. So you have that. And then you have that. Boom. See that? As soon as it broke that line, the word new low came on. All right. Now, this is on Friday. Now look at what price did again. This was at 9 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, price actually shot up and then it came down. All right. And then it actually broke that level again. So the new low extended. However, look at what happened. This original line, that was the break line, price actually broke the wick, came back up and closed above that line. That tells you that price got a rejection, price came back and closed above that line. Now that's significant. Okay, that's significant. Now, if you look at what price did for the remaining portion of the day, so it went up, notice, closed above that line. All right, this was your 1 o'clock candle. Next candle, your 3 o'clock candle. Notice, came down, it pushed through, but closed above that line. So for the next 4 hours for the next 6 hours after this initial break, price has closed above that break line. All right. So that is important right there. So, of course, this was the last candle on Friday. it closed above that break line, which tells me that the price is going to actually continue on a bullish momentum for at least the beginning portion of the week. Okay. All right. So when you look at the larger time frame, so I'll leave this line. I'm just going to make it thinner, so it's actually there. So we'll have, let's go back to one. So it's thinner. So you'll actually see what happens. Price broke and came and closed above that line. Now, the thing that I want to point out to you, I'm going to take this line out for a minute. Okay. Remember these two trend lines that we drew on the 1 minute. Okay. Let's go back to the 1 minute so you can see it. Okay. This was the lower trend line based on the lows. This was the upper trend line on the 1 minute based on the highs. Okay. Notice price broke, came, closed above. Okay. Notice price actually was going down pretty good. It closed above, broke below, came back above, closed above, ended the day above the trend line. And also it ended above both the bullish and the bearish trend lines. So which tells you that the price is actually going towards the shifting. The momentum is actually shifting. The retracement is over. And now you're going to be moving towards your bullish moves towards the beginning of the week. All right. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. So we'll go back to our 2-hour time frame, and this is where we're at. So let me put that line back just so I have it there. All right, for reference. Okay. Now, what am I expecting? So I go to my largest time frame, which recorded a higher low, and I'll notice that after the initial break towards that higher low, which is really the low on the 2-hour time frame, price came and it closed above. Now notice every single time frame that you look at lower than your largest higher low will tell you a similar scenario. So let me just make sure that this line is actually correct in terms of where we go. Yep. Yeah, there we go. All right. So notice the 8-hour. 8-hour did not register a higher low. So it's still at a higher high. Okay. 8-hour did not register a higher low. Still at a higher high. So the largest time frame that made a higher low would have been the 7-hour. So if you look at the 6-hour, you should see a similar pattern playing out. 6-hour, here we go. 6-hour, a higher low came down. Okay. Excuse me. Let's do the back test. Let's look at when the higher low was signaled. Higher low was actually signaled right here at the 5 a.m. candle. Okay. Then you have the next candle, which was formed, which is right here. Price broke, did that retest, came up and closed above that line. That's your 6-hour. Let's look at your 5-hour. Similar scenario. Price broke. This was your higher low. Came. It actually closed above here. All right. This is the last candle of the day, and it closed above that original break line. Going to your 4-hour, similar scenario. Broke down. You got the retest. It came back up. This is where it actually closed. Now, here's the interesting thing about the 5-hour and the 4-hour. So, for example, if you look at your backtest tool and you take that tool out, this was Friday. Notice the higher low was formed here from the previous day. The higher low on the 4-hour was formed from the previous day. It just consolidated for another 24 hours. Okay, you look at the 5-hour. 5-hour was actually created right here on your on Friday on the 8 o'clock candle. Okay, so I do expect to see while I expect to see some amount of bullish momentum, there is going to be some amount of consolidation. Why? Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays And sometimes Thursdays are known for consolidation, retracements, and setup towards your trend moves. So don't be surprised if you see the market actually consolidating, and instead of going up to make that higher high, it goes up to make only a lower high, which is fine. If it makes a lower high, it's still profit that you will be in, still good profit. You take your profit and you wait. Okay? So we're on the 4 hour. So we made mention of that fact on the 4 hour. The next time frame that we're looking at would be the 3 hour. Same scenario. 3 hour actually made that higher low on the previous day, came back, retested a number of times. We still got that rejection. Still got that rejection right here. Okay. So which means you expect that the price is going to continue. And of course, the 2 hour, here you go. You do get that low on Friday. This was the higher low from the previous day. You got a low on Friday. But guess what? All that rejection right here is the support line. Always look left. Price got to this line the previous day. It went up, made only a lower high. Came back down, came to this low, tried to break it. Instead of breaking it, it came right back and settled above the previous day's low. That's important right there. Don't forget it. So, of course, your next resistance area is going to be round about here. So, although I'm expecting the price to go back and create another all-time high, it may not do that. However, it will at least go up and create a lower high. And when it does create that lower high, it's an opportunity for me to take my profits and wait again. Remember, it's all about zigzag. So zigzag, zigzag. Every zig has a zag. Every zag has a zig. It's as simple as that. Okay? And of course, on the 1 hour, it's the same thing. All right? This was from the day before. Okay? This was, and I think Weedall actually pointed this out. When the price actually dropped here, it should have actually created a low right here. It didn't on the 1 hour. It actually left this hanging. It created a point, and then it shot right back up. So it left this point hanging. So this was really, in fact, a low on the 1 hour, but it did not register. Instead, what it did, it pushed up, created another lower high. So which means it came back down the following day, broke, created that new low, and then it actually went and closed above that level. All right. So I hope that actually makes it plain and clear for you right there. So again, going back to this week, what am I expecting? Well, for starters, this is the range for Friday. This was the range for Friday. This was the high on Friday. This was the low on Friday. Okay. Price has a tendency to consolidate between the last high and the last low. Okay. Or this is actually a lower high. This range consists of a lower high. To look at the range of what happened last week, you need to look at that higher high point and this higher low point. So basically, I'm expecting price to be consolidating between this range right here at the beginning of next week. Okay, so I'll go ahead and I will just draw a triangle just so I'm clear as to what I'm doing. Let's see. Let's go ahead and draw a triangle. Sorry, well, a rectangle. I'm sorry. So we'll go here. Let's do this. All right, let's just change this. I'll probably put this to pink. Yeah, there we go. So this is the range that I'm expecting the consolidation to start the week in, within this range. So if I get a lower high, anywhere, at this point right here, I'm good. I'll take my profits right there and then I'll wait again. So I'm going to draw a line from right here. This is going to be 23,924.7. So it's 23,924.7. Let's see. So let's do this. 23,924.7. All right. Here we go. Paste. Okay, there we go. All right. So right here is where I'm looking for the consolidation to happen. All right. Now, if my 7-hour produces a lower high within this shaded area right here, okay, then I know I'm taking my profits and I'm waiting again. Okay, because the highest, the largest higher low, okay, should go up to make a higher high. Now, if it does not make a higher high and gives you only a lower high, okay, then you take your profits and then you wait. All right. So that's basically what I'm expecting for, for this week. It's a matter of taking the higher lows, getting out on your highs, and you continue doing that until the market actually breaks and makes the higher highs again. Now, just want to actually go and point something out real quick. As you know, in December of 2024, I made some predictions, some very bold predictions, as to where I saw the market actually going. So we're actually going to check on that. So if I go and I look for one of my older charts, and I do save all my charts, so I'm able to go back and see what it is that we did. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see, 2025 TP projections. Here we go. Let me bring that chart up so we can actually see it. So if I go to my, this is my 4-hour, let's see, where are we? Yeah, here we go. These are my projections for 2025. Auber Strategies 2025 guaranteed projections. Okay. This is where the price is currently. So remember, I gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right now, I've taken out 4 of the projections for 2025. We just have one projection left, which is at 24,368.9. Let's see how many pips we are away from that. Roughly, if I measure this from here to this point, oh geez, we're less than 10,000 pips away, folks. All right. That's more than enough. The market can easily do that in one day. All right. So I have no doubt that the projections will be taken out for this year. If you look at what happened, this is when everybody got excited. Of course, I made the predictions and everybody was like, oh my God, look, the market actually fell, and it kept dropping for about like 3 months. And everybody's like, oh my goodness, it's going into free fall. Guys, like I've always said to you, anytime the market sells, it is only temporary. It's a temporary retracement to a larger, higher low. This point, I'll just do it again for emphasis. I know I sound like a broken record, but that point right there, if you look at it on your monthly time frame, you will see that that point was only the higher low on the monthly time frame. That's where I marked it. Here we go. See, that was a higher low. Ooh. Sorry, dragged the wrong thing. That was only the higher low. See it right there? That's the higher low. All right, that point right there was the higher low. All right. So, like I said, guys, it's very simple. You want to actually trade the NASDAQ 100 by trading the trend. The minute you start going counter trend and doing all sorts of foolishness and over analyzing, and that's when you run into problems. Okay. So you want always make sure you are trading the trend. The trend of the NASDAQ 100 has been and will always be higher lows to higher highs. And those trades are guaranteed. Like I said, my strategy My guarantee, I'm not selling any signals. I'm not giving any advice to anybody. This is just my strategy that I am just sharing what it is that I do every day. So I don't even need to argue with anybody about it. It works perfectly for me and everything like that. This strategy allows me to only trade a maximum of twice per day. All right. Buy. And if I feel like taking a sell, I take a sell. So it makes it so much easier for me. However, like I said, it takes time to learn and to understand. 95% of all traders who start trading fail within the first year, which means only 5% know what they're doing, which means only 5% of people spend the required time to at least learn and understand the strategy enough to be able to comfortably trade it on a daily basis without having FOMO. So it's all about practice, guys. So again, thank you guys for watching. I'll try my best to, if as time allows, to give you weekly updates, but I hope we have a successful week. As of now, I think the retracement is over based on all the tools that all the signals that I've seen. I think the retracement was over on Friday from about 9 o'clock. So I expect to see some amount of buying. There may be consolidation. However, if there's consolidation, the buy will only stop at a lower high on at least the 7-hour. If I get a lower high on my 7-hour, I take my profit and I wait for my next higher low. So thank you again, guys, for watching. God, we just thank you again for your blessing, your goodness. Please help us to have a successful week with anyone watching this video. We thank you and we love you. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys, have a good one, and I will see you next time. Bye.